Hello, smart people and fellow gamers of the square. Welcome to my best game ever. When I talk about my best game ever, I don't mean without mistakes, and you'll get to see plenty of them in this game. There are, however, some really interesting plays and strategies in this game that really made me proud of it, so I wanted to share it with you guys. So, about this game, it goes kind of long, which makes it really epic. And we are playing an interesting matchup with Symanti versus Polaris. And there is some critical points that you can see that are really going to give you some learning opportunities from this game. So if you like this kind of game, and if you don't, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also hit that like and subscribe button as well, because it really helps me out. So without further ado, let's get right into this game, shall we? Hello beautiful people on the internet. Today we're taking a look at this game I played. It is a very good game. It is incredibly spicy. There are some very interesting plays. And the first thing that you can see when opening this game, I might even put it in the description here, is the matchup. We are playing my favorite map type, which is 256 continents. And we are playing Symanti, which is usually not the greatest choice for continents. And we are playing against Polaris, which is a very solid choice. Most often you will get to the late game where Polaris is really good and they can really rack up the value, maybe even get to the ice bank. Maybe they will get knights. We are playing Symanti. We might even get to Dumux. We need to use wacky tactics. And yeah, you will definitely get to see all of that in this game. Alright, so let's just get started. Opponent here goes with a very solid opening. Also, our opponent here was a player with around 1400 ELO rating, which is definitely not a bad player indicator. So yeah, this is a very spicy one. We are going with the standard opener for Symanti. I do make a little misplay somewhere in the early game, and you will get to see that. For now though, don't worry about that. Opponent here makes a choice to go this way because the Mooney loves to stay near the water. And this warrior sees this fruit thingamajig over here, and they really want to get that. So yes, they will go for that. That is the right choice. So back to us here. We get the upgrade, of course, get a workshop, train a warrior, boost a warrior. Nothing too special. Now, our opponent's resources are not matching up with the capital, which is unfortunate to them, which is really good to us, because that basically means that we can not expect them to be doing very well in the economy front. So that's a little unfortunate for them. Also, they do not find a village here. If only they had placed this warrior one tile to the, oh my gosh, directions, northwest, they would have had an increased likelihood, definitely, now that I am looking at this, but they couldn't see this. The spores, yeah, what you want to do is go to the tile that actually has the indicator on it and step on it. That is the most likely way to find a new village, even though this would uncover one more tile fog. We do find one village. Our shaman unfortunately walks to the beach, and they are like, you know what? I like this. There's some fish about here, and I'm just chilling, just vibing, and that's just unfortunate. Could have expected that. It would have been better to put this shaman to a position where it could go this way because there's an animal here, which would indicate like there's probably some kind of village nearby, even though it doesn't say much. There's also like stuff over here, but that would be way too long to get to. So yeah, that's what the interesting part about playing Samanti on continents is. And that's the complete challenge of it, is that you need to get over the water somehow as quickly as possible and then establish dominance on the land. And if you can't do that, you're screwed. Unfortunately for our opponent here, the trick doesn't work for them. Luckily for us, that really saved us some time, some headaches, but we are both not having the greatest of spawns, so that's acceptable. They now have a connection they can make with their Mooney to the water, and that's going to cause us a little bit of a headache. What they do here, is that what I would do? Oh yeah, no, they can't. Wait, did they capture there? Oh, they could have captured, pre-capture gotten a technology and from there on upgraded one of their cities, so that's a misplay on their part. Yeah, really misplayed with the shaman placement. Should have gone this way. That bothers me quite a lot. As you can see, not perfect place so far, but the real interesting part comes in the middle to late game, and you will definitely get to see some interesting plays. Here they connect their cities. I don't know whether or not that would be the best course of action. Thinking about that, this cost them 10 stars to get both of these upgraded. That's actually pretty good. Huh. Never thought of that. See, I learn stuff from here. Right, so that's an interesting another way to open with Polaris, is it just to try to get your cities connected with the outposts. See, that's quite a good opening, although it doesn't set you up with another technology, so that's a bummer. Polaris strategy guide may not be coming. I've realized that you guys really don't put in the views when it comes to my strategy guys. I don't know why. I think that there's a couple of people that are really interested in that, and I really like making like either the more like lecture type of video or more like talking while I'm going at it, but it's really not working. I don't know. YouTube doesn't recommend this type of video, so I guess I have to stick to the more traditional gameplay video, which is really unfortunate. I really like making the guides, but I'm trying to still grow as a channel, you know, make this before I get too crazy into all of the different type of things. Here is the genius start of this game here. I got hunting quite early on because I can upgrade the city, but additionally what I can do here is get archery, and I know that I've talked about this before, I believe. These Faichi, they are the pivotal unit when trying to get onto the water with Samanti, because these Reichis, alright, they're cool and everything. They cost 8 stars, and they are slow as heck, and they just don't do much. To me, they're just expensive, and you don't have that type of money in the early game. So instead, you can get these Faichis, which also help you explore on the mountain stuff, for instance. Also gives you the defense bonus, which I always forget. But these guys can really like get you going on the water, and you don't need like any other technologies to get going with the water stuff. So that's the secret that Samantha has been keeping from you. For now though, let's continue on our search for a good Polaris player. They have probably investigated a little bit about Polaris strategies. As you can see, they get another Mooney here because they want to not only get this one onto the water, but they also want to expand as quickly as they can so that they can start bothering me with all kinds of units. And if you compare that to our strategy at the moment, is we don't have many units at all, and we are just trying to get these Faichi as early as possible so that we can get onto the water. And by the end of turn 5 we actually had one Faichi starting, so that's really nice. We can start going to stuff. You know, I have my shaman next to it, and that basically means that we are good to go. They get Org. Yeah, that's a decent choice. Is it the best choice? Don't think so. Well, actually, that's a decent choice. Could have gone with hunting instead, or fishing. Fishing, nah, no. Never mind. This is a good choice. Hunting would also be acceptable, just a bit cheaper to get that capital upgraded. See, we are going onto the water before Polaris is even going onto the water, which is really new to me. That usually doesn't happen all that much, and I get it that their spawn was a little bit land heavy, considering the fact that the increased likelihood of spawning next to a body of water, which is exactly the case with our spawn, which is really unfortunate. But definitely interesting to see that we are going places. Our opponent is also going places, but we are definitely going places. Here they can upgrade. Get ice fishing. I'm considering something else. If they took hunting instead, they would be equal on stars. Then 4 stars to upgrade this city, gain 5 stars back, so plus 1 star. And then no, that would not make a huge difference. Sometimes it would have made the difference, but in this case it really didn't. So this is definitely okay to go with. Ice fishing, yeah, that's a solid choice. They can do some interesting stuff here. Our opponent is definitely not a stupid player. They want to try to get this chunk of the technology branch as early as possible, usually. And they're working their way towards polarism, which is one of the most important parts of Polaris strategy, is just to outvalue your opponents by having units that are just better for the same cost, basically. So opponent is still doing good. We start to see the first eyes here, which really made me scared for my life that there was something going on. What's also interesting, now that I think about it, I don't think either of us actually took an explorer in any of our cities. That is very unconventional, but I think I see why in the grand scheme of things it really wasn't worth it, because we both needed our economies to do anything. Here we get to the point where we can shoot this Mooney. Unfortunately we can't kill it, so we don't. And if I had moved my warrior and or shaman better, I would have captured this village a lot earlier. So that's a misplay on my part. Here we upgrade our city, of course. That's all nice and good. But we keep making these Fichi units because they are incredibly underrated. They get sledding, they see a whole bunch of stars, which are really going to be incredibly helpful, as well as the sleds. These sleds here, they are going to help them in trying to definitely aggro us out of the game, and we are not prepared for that, although we do have a trick up our sleeve, which you'll get to see. First off, we get to kill this Mooney. And I need you to understand that that Mooney was pivotal to our opponent's plan. Namely, they need that ice to get onto our continent so that they can basically just kill everything with their sleds. But if that Mooney's dead, they can't do that. And usually you want a land bridge for Samanti, but in this case we don't. And that's an interesting choice that we made, to just not be bothered by the water and instead to just fly over it. Right? So yeah. And here I see a play that I could have made and I should have made, is that one of these Fichis, do I have vision? No, I don't have vision. Okay, in case I would have had vision, I should have done this. I can move this Fichi over here onto this village, and then I can break the ice as a dash action, which basically prevents them from getting anywhere near that village. And from there on out we can basically do everything we need. But I didn't do that, so that's unfortunate. We can see that Mooney, we can shoot it alright, that's fine. Could have killed it, definitely should have killed it with this Fichu, which is possible because this one is boosted, and that means that it can deal 5 damage to a poisoned Mooney. So definitely some misplays here, but I think really that this game is a very good example of how to think outside of the box. Definitely with Samanti, because usually you would not stand a chance against Polaris, but we are going to make the best out of it. Here I could have... Yeah, see, I do see that village and I do go onto it, but I really forgot to break the ice, which would have basically ensured that we got that village. So that's really stupid. Definite misplay. Should have got an explorer here, probably. As you can see, they can just kill that stuff. Didn't have a Mooney near to us, so... Yeah, at this point, look at the state of the game. Our opponent is definitely winning this at the moment, right? So... that is going to be a very interesting kind of game. Also look at the villages. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We at the moment are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are disadvantaged at the moment, and we need to get something going. Something. Don't know how, but we need to get something. At least we can kill that Mooney. That's nice. We need to just find a way to bamboozle them basically, we get forestry, which really unraveled a nice trick that I was going to have up my sleeve. Now, this place here has a lot of forests, and that's really going to be our saving grace. And if you haven't took a look at the Exida unit, you'd say this is basically a catapult, right? And then I say no, because this guy has 2 movements, and that basically means that it is way more flexible than a normal catapult. It is basically a catapult that has roads everywhere. And that's incredible. I've never used these in like competitive play, but I thought, you know what? If we can somehow manage to break this ice a little bit up and then shoot all of the units that are going to be over here, we can get a lot of value out of that. And so it was. They get Polar Warfare, they can Unsiege, they get Climbing, get Vision, and they connect that up, of course. Really good move. Spiritualism, really useful, especially against Polaris, because it is so useless. And yeah, that's just a prank. Anyhow, we are just continuing our onslaught. They don't have any units that can auto-freeze, so that we can not just barrage them with these ranged units. These fight cheese are really good at frustrating your opponent. And here I go with the Exeter. Yeah. That thing is going to rack up the value. They get hunting now. That's the right move, I feel like. Workshop. That's okay. Another workshop. As I said before, no explorers at all. Look at the amount of units that we both have. This is always a good indicator of whether or not you're winning. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But these units are really weak, but they can't hit them. And that's what matters. Because we are going to like rack up the value, while our opponent is just doing not much, just bamboozling themselves. Workshop again. As I said, no explorers. Dora the Explorer is not allowed in this match. They finally recognize the problem that they need to get themselves a Mooney. So yeah, they are going to try to break through. At least that was my train of thought. If they can get to our mainland, they are basically winning. And they should probably put pressure on us from 2 sides, from this village and from this one. They can basically do anything, but we can kill a Mooney with this Exida, a boosted Exida in 1 hit, so this is not the right place to train one. As well as we can kill a Mooney over there, so we really had to bank on the fact that they only had 1 Mooney per turn that we can kill at the turn that it moves. We get recycling, not too useful. It's nice and all that we can like shoot this guy, but not too fantastically great. We get the border growth. This will play a role later. But what we wanted is to have a lot of access to water. And we are going to use that later on. Not going to spoil anything. These Exodus are really putting in work. I really underestimated them. And these fight cheese are also putting in the work. And most people underestimate those. So, really making use of all the weird and wacky units that Somanti can provide to you. Yep. They can unsiege. Unfortunate, these sleds are really good on the ice. As long as you have a whole bunch of ice, you can basically kill anything. That's just how that works. Border growth, that's good. They get their first Gimme up, which is really infuriating because we have no clue about the whereabouts of it, and also we have no way of defending against it. So, great. But here we get our first taste of great strategy. We just break the ice. Also, I trained a hexapod over here, which was a complete and total misclick. I meant to train a Fighty over there. Train that stuff. Yet another ice break. As you can see, this is really annoying to our opponent, who is now going to lose these sleds. And that's just the value that we need, because if you look at the economy here, we have 22 stars per turn, whereas opponent has 29 stars per turn. And they have a city advantage, as well as they are going to get a unit advantage. So, also the map advantage. So, we are really not supposed to win this, but we're going to try and give it our best. Yep, yet another killing everything turn for our opponent. They get the ice fortress, which is incredibly scary, and they get riding. So yeah, look at this game from here. They have the Moonies. They are going to get a connection. That's really scary. They're going to probably get to kill our shaman here. And they have the single most important unit to basically hold anything together, which is the ice fortress. And they can get a whole bunch of value with these sleds. And you are thinking that I can win this game? You'll find out. Let's continue. Kill that Moonie. Kill that sled. Break the ice. Kill that sled. Boost. Hit that Moonie. Get free spirits to disband the hexapod that they made. Train a whole bunch of Fighties. State of the game. Not great. Definitely not great. Opponent here makes the land connection. Slap our shaman, but they can't kill it at the moment. So, scary stuff. They also make this ice fortress, which is not something we can kill at the moment. Yeah, this is really going to be our downfall, I would say. Although we can try to defend. We can kill some of these units, you know. At least try to. Well, that's one crisis averted. And we get our first centipede up. And we get some resources in that city. And we even get our second centipede up. And yeah, these centipedes are nice and all, but they need land. Now there is a land connection over here, but they would be walking straight into this ice fortress, as well as getting frozen by a whole bunch of Moonies and Gammies. So, not the greatest. Definitely not for this matchup. Centipedes are cool and all, but you really need to either be winning already or just don't give a shit and just try to out aggro. That's not how this matchup usually goes, though. Usually in continents,
I would say that Polaris has like a 90% win rate because depending on the map generation, of course, they are just going to absolutely obliterate anything on the water that Samenti can produce. In this case, though, there is land connection. There's a way to get there, but there's also a water connection. So we have like an interesting cycle of terrain that like either one of us can like make use of, but the other one can't. So that's an interesting state of the game, where both of us have some advantage and some disadvantage. Here they get forestry, they get another Gimme up. That's really unfortunate to us. Also, once again, look at the economies of both of us. We are trying to rig back the advantage, trying to like do something about it, but we don't have the measures to do much at the moment. Sure, we can kill a bunch of units and break all the ice, but that's just temporary relief, and it's not going to stay for a long time, so... Yeah, look at the game. It is incredibly interesting how this game is going. We are slowly but surely... We have a plan, right? Oh, where's our technology tree? We have free spirit, right? We got that. And what our opponent is doing is incredibly slow, but it is definitely, they're building up their economy to a point that they are definitely going to win. And we don't have the means to do any of that. So that is not in our favor. What we can hope for, though, is that they make a critical mistake and don't put enough pressure on us, so that we can basically aggro them out of the game by getting some kind of advantage, hopefully from this side of the map, because this one is, well, not unbeatable, but not beatable for Samenti at the moment. So we really have to try to find a way to break through on the other side of the map so that our opponent can't really win anymore, and we are stacking up the stars to get to the point of no return. Also, we managed to keep our shaman alive, and we get shock tactics, because if there's something you need to know about this matchup, it is that there is definitely not a good trade for this Dumux, because these sleds are just incredible if you can keep spamming them together with riders. And if you don't understand how that works, you are not going to make use of it, and that's basically what you have to hope for as the Samenti player in this case. They get roads, that's all cool. See what I did there? Samenti versus Polaris Pun. Sure, you can upgrade all of your cities. Sure. Sure, you can get like your monument. That's all well and good. Also look at these spores. Not going to do anything with them because we didn't take a border growth, but... What we can do is, though, try to place our aggression in such a way that we can try to evade these Moonies with the Dumuxes, and then pressure their sleds and riders to such a point that they need to divert their aggression on this side of the map towards a defensive measure on this side of the map. And you know, the thing that you really need to know about Polytopia is if you are trying to defend, you're going to mess up. But if you attack and you mess up, that's not that big of a problem. So you really always want to be on the offensive, right? You usually can't win if you're just defending. So you really need to try to always be aggressive against your opponent here. So yeah, that's a little neat trick. Here they make a move that is really interesting. It's going to cost them some time to recover from this financially. You see, they get trade. And trade is an incredibly strong technology. It might be the best economic technology in the game, definitely with Polaris, but it is extremely expensive to get going. Because also this ice bank costs you 20 stars. And you remember when I said that we were waiting for our opponent to give us a chance? This is that chance. And it is the turning point, because we are building up some kind of army, and our opponent just made a huge spending on economy. And we are sabotaging them now. And we are now trying to aggro them on the side that we have the advantage, namely the side with a lot of land. And our opponent is not going to really like that if they are just going to get that ice bank going. But that is exactly what they're doing. Look at their economy just popping off, 45 stars per turn. But they don't have the units anymore. Sure, they can have a bunch of sleds and some riders, but we are on the offensive now. And they can try to break through with this, but we can defend that. That's fine. But they don't know that this is going on, I believe. Okay, so they can see some of it, but they don't know that this centipede is coming their way as well. So they really should have been making a whole bunch of units in this turn instead of just trying to get some value, because I've talked about this in the How to Defeat Simanti guide, which you didn't watch. If you didn't, make sure to watch that, because you always should have watched that. So what they should have done is just instead spam a whole bunch of riders and get polarism, and from there on out you can just hit these guys a whole bunch of times and they're just dead. And they cost me 10 stars, and yeah, you can't do anything if there's just so little of them. What we are doing here is just trying to get the advantage, and we finally managed to get fishing and upgrade that city so that we can spam more Faichi from there. But that is just a sidetrack, because the thing that we really need to get going is this army, and they don't have knights yet. We get some free upgrades, that's nice and all, but we still haven't gone to the point of economy that our opponent is at. But you really don't need to. Sure, they can try to kill these units, and they are going to fail, by the way. Also, they should have focused on this guy, because if you don't know about zone of control and movement, these units, these ones on the edges, they have movement, zone of control it's called, on all the tiles that are surrounding them. So when a unit moves into one of these tiles, they are stopped, and they can't move any further, except if they have the sneak ability. Same goes for this one and this one. So all of these tiles are all protected, basically. So if there was a knight that was going to chain into it, it would get stopped, and they need to first sacrifice a whole bunch of other units. And they have the knights now, which we don't have vision on. That's nice. We explode this guy, and then we try to get into a position where a knight would not be able to, like, chain everything. Which I kind of do correctly. It was a bit of a gamble. Needed to get at least some advantage. And if we can tip over the balance of cities, then we might be able to just barely snag this game. Because our opponent was really slow at building up their push. So we took the advantage that we have and just tried to make the most of it. And keep stalling this side so that they think that they need to still do stuff here. Whereas they should have really been focusing on this side and probably should have had archery by now. Because archery against these guys with polarism is just GG. But they didn't. Here, yeah, they get to chain, right? Luckily though, our what is it called again? The little guy has 15 HP because it was promoted, so it doesn't get killed basically. But look at this! All of their units are dead. They just sacrificed a whole bunch of stuff to not even kill all of my units in this region. And that is going to spill disaster for them. Even though they have a great economy now. We have the attacking advantage. And we are already putting pressure on their cities. And that's nice and all that they can get another Gimme. And that they have some Moonies over here to support. But I don't think that that is going to be enough. Because, as you can see, I can basically kill their 8-star unit with a 5-star, a 3-star unit. And just gain a whole bunch of value. Kill that Moonie because it's going to be trying to freeze whatever is sieging the city. And then from there we can siege the city, put a boy over there, an Exida, that's what it's called. And really just get the advantage by not giving them the opportunity to kill everything. And the way you win Polytopia is by basically producing more units than your opponents can kill, and the other way around is that you are killing more units that your opponent can produce. So that's the two ways by which Polytopia games are decided. And in this case, we do both of them. We are producing more units than our opponent can kill, and we are killing more units than our opponent can produce. As you can see, they had a whole bunch of sleds over here and a bunch of riders, and they're now all dead. So, also we keep stalling on this side, because we don't want them to get the initiative of attacking. Okay, yes, they can, like, kill some stuff. But no, they can't unsiege that city. So we are going to tip over the balance, which is exactly what we needed. Kill those Moonies. They are annoying. They're annoying and expensive. And here we have another little trick, because we know that they most definitely have the means to unsiege this somehow. So we are just going to prepare a centipede push over there. And now that advantage of economy doesn't seem like a lot anymore, right? As well as, where are all of their units? They're just vanished. They vanished into all of these Dumuxes, which are just really efficient. So if they could have had the initiative of swinging with their knights into my Dumux instead of the other way around, it would have been a way different story, because like if you do this incorrectly, you can basically wipe out these Dumuxes because they are not the greatest at defending. They are only good at attacking. But here our opponent finally thinks about attacking themselves, but it's already too late. Because, well, we are winning this side of the war, and they don't have the means to win this side of the war, so they're just losing a two-front war that they are creating themselves. Here we go with the centipede push. That was already in plan. So here we go. We siege that. That's nice and good. We can kill. We can kill. And we can start hitting their presumed attack by just killing a bunch of this ice and just stalling them and just hitting everything. And sure, they can re-establish a connection here, but what they can't do is solve this issue here. And we could get another centipede here. We don't need it at the moment. We definitely made some misplays along the way. But yeah, look at this. Their entire army just fell apart. And although I do make a whole bunch of misplays here, basically giving them a whole bunch of value, they are not focusing their efforts to protecting their own turf, basically. And that is what is going to be their ultimate downfall. Even though they have these gummies going on here in the south, and we don't have the means, it looks like, to defend against that, we are already winning our side of the war by just attacking them. So yeah, let's continue. From here it's going to be a walk in the park, basically, because we can just keep killing this. Also could have sieged here. Big dumb misplay. We do make another genius play here by getting ourselves an Exida that's going to be able to hit this guy over here, and that's going to help us with defending our city, because yeah, they are attacking us now. But even though they are now attacking us, yeah, we are already winning so much that it doesn't really matter. Look at this. We can just break the ice and just go in for the kill. And then we are defended. There's nothing left to do. We win. They keep trying a little bit more, but yeah, after this turn they come to the conclusion that they basically they've lost. They played well. They played incredibly well, but they made one fatal mistake. And that was to try to get into the economy game too much. Yeah, they really played well, I think, and as I let this play out here, I really think that this matchup was not ours to win, but because they were incredibly indecisive with this, like, sieging here, we made use of that, and we sneaked a win in from the other side. And I think that that is one of the greatest moves that I've ever made, is how this game eventually just, it took the right combination of elements to get Samanti to win on continents against Polaris. And that's just beautiful.